Hello everybody, welcome in today's class. Today I am going to discuss a very important topic from the environment, that is called Wetlands of India. So what is Wetlands of India and why it is important for this year prelims examination? So this is me, Pravin Choubey. I am going to discuss this topic. So let's start without wasting time. So first of all, definition of wetland is very important. You should know the definition of wetland first. So this is definition given by a Ramsar Convention. Okay, we'll discuss about what is Ramsar Convention. One international treaty that discussed about for the conservation of wetlands all over the world. Okay, so definition is very clear here. I'm written here two definition. One is you can use anyone you can use in mains examination, but the first one definition, this definition is basically you can, if you will use in mains examination, then that will be a good for you. So definitions of wetland include the convention is deliberately broad, encompassing areas of marshes. Okay, marshes land that you can say areas like just like the run of Kutch in Gujarat state, fen, peatland or water, whether natural or artificial, permanent or temporary, with water that is flowing or static, fresh, brackish, salty, including areas of marine water, the depth which at lower tide does not exceed 6 meters. So this is the definition given by a international conservation for wetland. Another definition is your wetland is a unique ecosystem where water is a primary factor. Okay, water is a primary factor controlling the environment and the associated plant and animal life. They occur in areas where land is covered by water either permanently or seasonally. So these are the two important definitions. You can use any one definition, but if you will use this first one, then that will be a good, okay, because this is a proper definition of wetland and this is called a general definition. So if you not remember the first one, and because it's include a lot of physical terrain surface like permanent or temporary, natural, artificial, marshes, fen, peatlands, if you not remember this type of words, you can use this second definition. That second definition is talking about your water is the primary factor. Okay, so what is the wetland? What is the meaning of this wetland? Wetland is basically, it may be a your natural or artificial, means it may be a man-made. Most important thing here about wetland is water. Water should be present there. Either it should be a coastal area, either should be an inland area, either should be your some marshes where because of floodplain areas, some area, sometime in in years when river flow increases, that causes a flood in surrounding areas. So that type of area is included your wetland. The most important key word here is water is the primary factor. They occur in areas where land is covered by water either permanently or seasonally. So during a monsoon season, monsoon season, every part of India receive a good amount of rainfall, apart from your Rajasthan and coastal areas. Okay, some areas where a good amount of rainfall, area covered by a water, that also include a wetland. Okay, so wetland is basically, you can include any area that there you see water is the primary factor, but it not include your seas and oceans. Seas and ocean is very different thing. Now, types of wetland. How many types of wetlands are there? So there are total number of categories of wetlands. One is called your coastal wetlands. So what is coastal wetland? Between land and open seas. Example, mangrove and coral reef. So you know that mangrove vegetation, one important vegetation that you will see. This is example of ecotone also. In environment, we study about ecotone. What is the meaning of ecotone? Ecotone basically meaning is it is a transition zone between the two different aquatic ecosystem. Okay, and one is terrestrial ecosystem. So two ecosystem, the area that is transition area between two ecosystem is called a ecotone. So in that area you will see a mangrove and coral reef. One type of vegetation is present. So that is called a coastal wetland. Okay. Another one is called shallow lakes and ponds, permanent or semi-permanent water with little flow. Example, vernal pond, spring pool, salt lake, volcanic crater lakes. Okay, this type of where temporary or permanently water is present. Okay, such type of lakes and shallow lakes or ponds is also will include in the part of your wetlands. So in prelims, maybe UPSC will ask you a question about which of the following is not come under the category of wetland. So this categorization is very, very important. Another one is called your marshes, as you see in the definition that defined by International Conservation for Wetland, that is plant marshes. These are periodically saturated, flooded, ponded with water and characterized by herbaceous, means non-woody. As you see, the some of the grasses are there, some aquatic vegetations are there that not include a woody. Such type of vegetation should be present there. Wet soil conditions. Soil is always have a set, means you can say a surplus amount of water is present soil. Marshes are further characterized as tidal marshes and non-tidal marshes. So some of the coastal areas, like when we talk about run of Kutch. So run of Kutch is, marshes land because of Luni River. Luni River is one important ephemeral river in our country that basically disappear in run of Kutch, that originate from Aravalli mountain, nearby Aravalli mountain, and it means disappear near the run of Kutch. So that created a marshes island. That island basically include your water. Another one is called swamps. Swamps are there fed primarily by surface water inputs and are dominated by trees and shrubs. Swamps occur in either freshwater or saltwater floodplains. So swamps are very different from your marshes areas. The marshes area will see herbaceous vegetation is there, but in swamps you will see there is a presence of tree and shrubs. A proper woody vegetation will be there, and you will see such type of either in a freshwater area where because of the rainfall or because of nearby rivers that flooded, and that causes the spread of water everywhere. Okay. Another one is called bogs. Bogs are waterlogged peatland in old lake basin or depressions in the landscape. Almost all water in bogs come from rainfall. So sometime what happens, the depression is there on the earth surface, and when a heavy rainfall will be fall, then water is collected under this depression or basin, that called a bogs. Okay, so box is basically whatever the water is present here, that all are present because of the rainfall. Another one is called estuaries. The area where river meet the sea and water changes from fresh to salt can often offer an extremely rich mix of biodiversity. This wetland include delta, tidal mudflats, and salt marshes. So difference between estuaries and delta you must know. So delta is like a landform that long rivers, long path of the river, when it meets with the sea, it causes to means uh, there is a deposition of sediments brought by the rivers, and that causes a delta. But estuaries, in India we see most of the west flowing rivers in India, they are forming estuaries. They not form a deltas. Okay, so estuaries, the best definition of estuaries, they basically river water directly mixes with the sea water, and this is considered as the best biodiversity zone, that include your a good amount of biodiversity zone. So these are the some of the important categories of wetland. So remember this features, maybe in prelims they can ask you any different questions. Okay, now next one is your what are the important uh, importance for the wetland, importance of the wetlands, why wetlands is necessary, why there is an international initiative for protection of wetlands. So why wetlands are important, this is again a one basic question, maybe they can ask in prelims. So which of the following statement is correct regarding wetlands? So wetlands are among the most productive ecosystem. What is the meaning of this productive ecosystem? Productive ecosystem basic meaning is that gives some output, like diversity in nature, that contain some services, ecosystem services. Okay, that is resources we gain from a particular wetland. So that's called a productive ecosystem. They produce something better, and that we consider as a natural resources. They provide wide range of services. The first wide range of services means there are different type of services provided by the wetland. So first one is your wetland help in flood control by acting as a natural sponges. So you know that some I talking about the floodplain areas. So floodplain area, sometimes you see river water overflow and water spread here and there nearby the area. So this wetland act as a sponges. They absorb maximum amount of the water in their soils. So basically they decreases the intensity of the flood that to reach a large number of area. So it's like a natural sponges. So when at the time of drought situation, or when the water is not available, rainfall is not available, they provide a sufficient water to a particular area. So it's like a flood control. This is the keyword, you remember, it's a flood control. Wetland play an important role in maintaining the quality of the water in deep water ecosystem. So quality of water, we are using in our home a filter. Why? What is the meaning of filter? Basically, we are filter the water, the impurities. Basically, we remove impurities and we get a fresh water. So that type of natural filter, we can say that means act by a wetland, and it is maintain the quality of water. Wetland trap the sediment suspended in water, a process called sediment trapping. Okay, same like filtering the dirty water. They also remove the phosphorus and nitrogen and help to prevent eutrophication of lakes and ponds. So you know that eutrophication is one of the important concept in environment we study, that indicate that the presence of large population of algae in nearby areas or nearby lakes. So this eutrophication basically happen when a large amount of phosphorus and nitrogen, that chemical fertilizer used by the farmer, mixes with the rainwater, and then they mix again with the nearby lakes area, that causes increase in the population of algae. We use the term called algal bloom. Okay, so that type of impurities, or we can say a pollutant, is basically controlled by this wetland. For this function, wetlands are often referred to as kidney of the earth. So this is the most important keyword you can remember as a kidney of the earth, because in mains examination, if you have to write any answer regarding a wetland, you can use such type of keywords. Wetland host a large number of species of microbes, plant, insects, amphibians, reptile, bird, fish, and mammals. So that's why it is considered as a we can say a perfect ecosystem. Okay, where you will see a diversity of species will be there, and because of the availability of the microorganisms, availability of the planktons, zooplanktons, so fishes will be there. If more fishes will be there, then migratory bird will be also present. Reptiles, mammals will also visit particular area. So it's considered as a balanced ecosystem. Wetland help in carbon sequestration. So what the meaning is, carbon sequestration meaning is basically absorption of atmospheric carbon dioxide and absorb for a long period of time. So like vegetation, forest, dense vegetation, they absorb carbon dioxide from the atmosphere in the form of during the process of photosynthesis. So we use the term called carbon sequestration. They act as a carbon sink, and wetland soil contain high amount of carbon. So this is, we can say, one of the important natural strategy, we can say natural way through which we can control the climate change. We can control the emission of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. So whatever the carbon dioxide emissions means result in the emission of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere because of the burning of fossil fuels. So we can use wetland. If we will conserve wetlands in a proper manner, that will be help in carbon sequestration. So remember, the term carbon sequestration basically means absorption of carbon dioxide, atmospheric carbon dioxide for a long period of time. That is called carbon sequestration. Okay, fifth number is wetland help in natural groundwater recharge and discharge. As I told you that in the second point, it is maintain the quality of the water. The same here, it's act as a recharge and discharge of the natural groundwater. So groundwater is very, very important for any part of the world. Okay, because groundwater, if the ability of the groundwater will be there, suppose the rainfall will be not happen there for a long period of time, so we can use the groundwater for agriculture purpose. They store water that replenishes the groundwater. Further, they discharge groundwater into lakes, river, stream during dry period. So one of the important we can say this is a wetland act as a bank for a more amount of water. So whenever there is a requirement of water during a drought situation or dry period for cultivation of any crop for agriculture purpose, we can use this groundwater that is recharged that is absorbed by the wetlands. So wetland help in regulating local climatic condition, particular temperature and climate. So if good wetlands area is very large area that is considered as a wetland, so nearby areas also have a moderate type of climate, means temperatures not as high, because you know that water vapor will be there. So obviously a formation of cloud will be there, a rainfall will be there, or we can say if this a permanent water is there in nearby lake area, so land and sea breeze type of phenomena that is happening during within 24 hours, that maintain the temperature of a local area. So we can say it's regulating the local climate also. And the seventh point is wetland provide a large number of economic benefit also. So what are the economic benefit? Like supply of fisheries, timber, other building materials, energy resources such as peat and plant matters, wildlife resources, medicinal plants, recreational and tourism opportunity. So like you know that fishery is one of the important resources that we get from the water bodies or aquatic ecosystem. Timber that contain a good woody plants and building materials also we get from the wetland. So these are the some important uh, importance of the wetland. That's why our government is also day by day planning to conserve wetlands in our country. Now, this after discussing the some important importance of the wetland, let's see what are the threat of the wetlands. What are the threat to the wetlands? Why wetlands are nowadays considered important, considered by most of the environmentalists are considered as important. So first of all, is threat is include your urbanization. So urbanization is you know what is urbanization? Like construction activity. Urbanization because expanding of urban area, nearby area. So they are constructing a new buildings for a mall purpose, for any building purpose. They are utilizing maximum number of the wetlands. Agriculture, for agriculture, you know that we convert wetlands into agriculture fields that also disturb the natural ecosystem. So most of the endemic species of a particular place is also disturbed, and inclusion of new invasive species that causes for a threat for the wetlands. Pollution is one important reason because of nearby industries. They discharge uh, uh, dirty water into nearby the wetlands that include harmful chemicals. Okay, hot waters, that is called thermal pollutions, that is called plastic pollutions. Okay, different type of plastic pollutions, you know, that is considered a threat of the wetlands. Climate change is one of the reasons. Is most of the wetlands that is considered as a permanent water is present, but because of the disturbed in a rainfall patterns is disturbed, and that area receive a very less amount of rainfall. So we can say a climate change is one of the factor that causes for delay in rainfall, delay in monsoon, that not able to bring a sufficient amount of water to a particular wetland, that causes disturbance of entire ecosystem. Dredging and draining, this is the two words are very important. Draining, you know that basically agriculture runoff, we use agriculture runoff word, that is inclusion of harmful chemical fertilizers near the areas that causes or draining of harmful chemical into the wetlands. Introduced species, I told you that about your invasive species when entered in a particular new ecosystem, that is considered threat for endemic species. And salinization, salinization is basically means a salt deposition salt over the wetland, that is due to the capillary action. Okay, that due to the capillary action, deposition of salt. So these are some reason we can say a threat to the wetlands. So our government, international body considered that wetland is important part of biodiversity. So we have to conserve it. Now let's see what are the conservation effort for the wetlands. So we first discuss about the international effort, and this international effort, the first one is called Ramsar Convention. So Ramsar Convention is one of the intergovernmental environmental treaty. It is intergovernmental, means between the government of many countries, environmental treaty that call for international cooperation and national action to safeguard and sustainable use of wetland. Basically, this is a Ramsar Convention that was signed in on 2nd of February 1971. One Ramsar is one Iranian city, that is Iran. This one city in Iran, very close to the Caspian Sea. So this is the Caspian Sea. You will see the location in Atlas. The Ramsar is present. That is a important city of Iran. And there on 2nd February 1971, one convention was signed by the many government that how we should be conserve or safeguard the sustainable use of wetland. Official name for the convention is the Convention on Wetland for International Importance, especially as a waterfall habitat. So remember this name. In prelims, maybe UPSC will use this word instead of Ramsar Convention. Is the most popular name, and every IAS aspirant knows very well Ramsar Convention. But if instead of using Ramsar Convention, if they will use Convention on Wetland or International Importance, or as especially as a waterfall habitat, you don't confuse there. Okay, you must remember this is the same thing as a Ramsar Convention. It is the first and only global treaty for conservation of particular ecosystem. Okay, so wetland is the one we consider as a ecosystem. Okay, and ecosystem is the area where we know we study the functional relationship between biotic and abiotic factors, how they interact with themselves along with their surrounding. So one of the important ecosystem, particular ecosystem, and like mangrove is a one ecosystem, coral reef is a one ecosystem, desert is a one ecosystem. Okay, so Wetland is also one ecosystem and a special treaty that was signed for the conservation of particular ecosystem. So there is a this is where it get named from the Ramsar Convention. Why it's called Ramsar Convention? Because it was signed in Ramsar, the city in Iran, in 1971. So every year, 2nd February celebrates World Wetland Day every year. So again, important factual points you should remember regarding the Ramsar Convention. It is important to note that Ramsar Convention is not legally binding. That is, it has not punitive sanction for violation upon treaty commitment. So some of the treaty is legally binding. You remember, this is again one important point that will be make confuse in your prelims examination. Some treaties are legally binding, means those country who signed the particular treaty must follow the protocol. And some treaty, international treaty, is not legally binding. It means that if you violate, if you have not follow the particular protocol, then nobody will going to punish you. Okay, so it's depend on the country's capacity, their planning, their economic importance, how they are conserving a particular ecosystem. It is also not the part of United Nations and UNESCO system of environmental convention and agreement. So it's not a part of United Nations. Most of the treaty like UNFCCC, United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, that the part of United Nations. So that you should remember some of the treaties like they are the part of United Nations, but international conservation for international conservation for wetland is not a part of United Nations. Okay. Now next slide is that is about important, again a very important concept, that is what is Montreux record. In 2016 or I think 15 there was a question in prelims examination regarding Montreux record. So this year maybe again they will use the term Montreux record in prelims. So remember, and it's very important to understand what is Montreux record. So Montreux records under the Ramsar Convention is a register of wetland sites on the list of wetlands of international importance, where changes in ecological character have occurred or occurring or likely to occur as a result of technological development, pollution, or other human interference. So what is Montreux record? Montreux record, it includes those wetlands, okay, that are more threatened because of the human interference. Okay, they see here written here that character that have occurred or are occurring or likely to occur as a result of technological development, pollution, or other human interference. So that type of means areas that required a more attention by the government, local body, that is called Montreux record. It is maintained as a part of Ramsar sites. So in our country we have more than 200 wetlands. Out of the 200 wetlands, we categorize some of the wetland as a Ramsar sites, and out of the Ramsar sites, some of the wetland that required a more attention, that required a more importance, that is included under the Montreux record. So try to understand the this is hierarchy about we have wetlands. Okay, we have a wetlands maximum 100 200 wetlands. Out of this wetlands, some of the are categorized under the Ramsar site. Okay, that required importance, and under Ramsar site, some 2 or 3 wetland that we as record as Montreux record. So this is the Montreux record. Currently in India, this is important to note down. Currently in India, 2 wetlands of India are in a Montreux record. This is called Keolo National Park, that is in Rajasthan, and Loktak Lake in Manipur. So 2 important. This is again a very important for prelims examination. They will ask you a question: which of the following wetlands in our country or Ramsar site in country that is considered as a Montreux record? So remember, it's a Keolo National Park in Rajasthan and Loktak Lake in Manipur. Initially, Chilika Lake was also included under the Montreux record, but because of the state government initiative, because of the conservation initiative by the state government, this Chilika Lake is removed from the Montreux record. Okay, so Chilika Lake in Odisha was placed in the record but was later removed from it. So this is the important lake you should know, that is not the part of Montreux record. Now we'll see important wetlands of India. Now this is directly we see from the government website. Most important thing about the wetland, what is important here, you should know the name of the site along with the state. Okay, so Ashtamudi wetland, Kerala. Bhitarkanika mangroves in Odisha. This is again a very important for saltwater crocodile. Okay, Bhoj wetlands in Madhya Pradesh, Chandartal, Himachal Pradesh, Chilika Lake, Odisha, Deepar Bill, Assam, East Calcutta wetland, West Bengal, Harike Lake, Punjab, Hokera wetland, Jammu and Kashmir, Kanjli Lake, Punjab, Kyolodeo Ghana National Park, Rajasthan, Puleru Lake, Andhra Pradesh, Loktak Lake, Manipur, Nal Sarovar Bird Sanctuary, Gujarat, Point Kalimar, Tamil Nadu, Pongdam Lake, Himachal Pradesh, Renuka Wetland, Himachal Pradesh. This is the India's smallest wetland. Roper Lake, Punjab, Rudrasagar Lake, Tripura, Sambar Lake, Rajasthan, Sasta Makota Lake, Kerala, Sundarban Wetland, West Bengal, Sri Srinan Mansar Lake, Jammu and Kashmir, Somoruri Lake, Jammu and Kashmir, Upper Ganga River, Uttar Pradesh, Vembanad and Vular Lake in Jammu and Kashmir. So this is a total number of 27 wetland. Apart from 27 wetland, this year again a government added 10 more wetlands. Okay, that total include here now 37 wetlands. So India has added 10 more wetlands to the site with the Ramsar Convention. This is very important for as in the form of current affair plus environment. So this is the location is very important. Maybe they can ask you a question, which of the following recently wetland declared as a Ramsar site. So remember the Maharashtra, the first Maharashtra, Nandur, India, Maharashtra first wetland. Nandur is of India's, Maharashtra first wetland. Then in Punjab, Keshopur, Miani, Beas Conservation Reserve and Nangal. So Nangal and Nandur, don't confuse with this. Okay, these are the three important wetland included in Punjab, and rest in Uttar Pradesh, Nawabganj, Parvati, Agra, Saman, Samaspur, Sandi and Sarsai, Nawar. The three are there. This is a total number of 10 new wetlands that included. Now we have a total number of 37 wetlands. Out of 37 wetlands, we know the two wetlands that include in your Montrex record. One is called your Kyolodeo National Park and Loktak Lake. Remember, Chilika Lake was first initially included, but now it removed. So you can revise this video, watch this video again, pause it and note it down the important points regarding your Ramsar conventions and important wetlands. Similarly, we will again come with a new topic from the environment or some other chapters. Some subject like geography, in polity, economy, and from the current affair. So this will be this is our new initiative where we'll discuss important topic for your